All this like people want to be all positive, all this positive talk, it doesn't work if it's a lie. Self-talk without real work is just a lie. So my self-talk is like no one else's self-talk. It changes all the time. But let's say for shits and giggles, I'm training for a 100-mile race. And I get to mile 50 and I feel like shit. And like everybody else, my mind gets soft. Why? Because I'm human. I'm not some damn, hybrid creature that was formed from the heavens above. No, not. Human. I suffer, I don't like it, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it. So my mind starts to get weak and we start to forget about how badass we are. So basically what I do here is you have to make sure that your mind doesn't become spastic. When it's suffering, when it's in pain, all it wants to do is find the easy way out, which is usually quit. If you quit, the pain goes away immediately. You gotta give yourself enough energy and fuel in your mind to stay just a little bit longer so you can talk yourself into staying for the whole thing. And this is how it works. Most of us never start anything cold. If you're gonna go to college, you gotta study your ass off. If you wanna run a 100-mile race, a marathon, if you wanna go be Mr. Olympia, if you wanna go be a scientist, in that moment when we need self-talk, when we're failing and we're in our worst spot possible, we forget the back end. Oh, my fault, the front end. All the build up to where we're at today. We forget how much work we put in. We forget that we put years, maybe not into making these dials, but to getting where you're at today. Become this person, to be in a position to make this money, or whatever you want to make, whatever you want to do in your life. We forget that. We forget that journey on what it took for us to get in this moment to make the right decision. So that's my self-talk is this. Okay, I want to get out of here, man. I'm done. Then I remember this. You ran 2,000 miles training to be in this moment right now. We forget that. We forget the 3 o'clock in the morning runs or getting up early for work or whatever you're doing. We forget all that. In that moment of suffering, I remind myself, I only have 50 more miles. I put in 6 months of training. So what I do, my self-talk is basically going back down memory lane of all those days I ran the rain or I had to study real late at night and I didn't want to do it, but I did it to get here. I wanted to get here. Now you're here and now you want to quit? If you haven't put in any hard work to reflect on, you're fucked. All this like people want to be all positive, all this positive talk, it doesn't work if it's a lie. Like if you didn't study for your big exam and you go into it saying, I'm going to pass it, no, you're not. That self-talk is not going to work. Self-talk without real work is just a lie. So my self-talk is me reminiscing back on the struggle to get to this moment. And that tells me we're not quitting today. Not today.
Who you are depends entirely on your influences and the level of effort that is put into forging yourself into what you desire to be.
When we come across something that's very hard and we try it once or maybe twice, we then say, we're done, we can't do it anymore. Before you say something's impossible, do it and do it and do it to a level that people think that you might be crazy until you say it's impossible.
You don't achieve worthwhile goals quickly or easily. They take time. They take struggle. They take relentless pursuit day in and day out. That's what it takes. I get worn down. Of course, I get frustrated with stuff. Of course, things don't always go my way. And of course, I come up short sometimes, of course. But what do I do when those things happen? I keep going. It's really that simple. I put one foot in front of the other. I move forward another inch, another centimeter. I write one more sentence. I place one more brick on the wall. I gut through one more workout. I step out onto the mat one more time. Because worn down isn't beaten. And frustration is not gonna kill me. And the things that don't go my way, they just turn into targets that I'm going to attack harder. And when I do come up short, it's okay, because I just learned one more thing that's gonna get me over the top. So at those moments, at those low points, those times when it seems that defeat is starting to get the upper hand, you just need to keep going. Keep going. Just keep going, and don't stop regardless of what you are hit with. Because if you don't stop yourself, then nothing else can, and nothing else will.
The second you think that you've overcome it, you climbed Everest, you're on that last hold, and life will say, not today, and it'll push you down. Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. What am I gonna do today to change what I see in this mirror? If you're not real and raw with who you are, nothing's gonna change once you realize it. And you have to realize it. You gotta call yourself out. Addressing it is very small. It doesn't go from like one morning I'm this way, next morning I wake up and presto, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life. It's patience. Accepting who you are right now. I'm fat. I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own world. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone.
I choose to keep going forward, but you get to a spot in that race where you don't know what to do. And that's when you find out what you're made of.
Focus on the target, your vision gets blurry, and so you lose track of the long-term goal or the long-range target. So that's why we focus on our front sight, because we can keep that little thing that's right in front, 3 feet in front of us on our rifle. You can keep that in focus. So that's what you focus on. And every once in a while, if you start that, maybe that gets a little blurry, well, then you look at your long-term targeting, because that daily grind will beat you down too. And if the daily grind beating you down, and then you forget what your goal was in the first place. But so every once in a while, yeah, you got to look up at your long-term goal and say, I want to be doing this or achieve that or whatever.